Well, now it's 9.
Now we're live.
We are live. And welcome everyone to Kayak Adventure Series live stream. I cannot believe this is the third one already. Supposed to do more jungle noises. And I'm Billy Kayaks. I'm here with Drew and Jake. What's up, fellas?
It's living a dream.
Hang on, I got something else in my ear I'm trying to fix. I think I'm live on Instagram now, but I have to X out of that tab. Man, I had like all these crazy noises. It was like echoing. But anyway, we figured that technology out. So if you're on Instagram right now, you're probably watching this live on Instagram because I figured it out. But not much, guys. I'm doing good. I'm down here in, let's just say I'm in a state with some palm trees. It's warm, but I can't really reveal all that I'm doing down here. It may have something to do with a 2025 Kayak Adventure Series stop. So I'm going to stop right there before I give anything else away. And I am only going to be here for 25 minutes because I have a meeting with a certain municipality, so coming up in about here at 11:30. So, and I'm right here where I'm going to meet them. So I'm going to hop off right at 11:30, go meet with them, and maybe we end up somewhere really warm at some point. But I'm going to stop there before I give too much away.
Yeah, don't give it away. So we're officially lines in as we wait for a few more people to join. I can see those numbers calling in now. But Jake, how are you doing? You guys were a little under the weather before. You feeling better?
Yeah, a little bit. It's still chaotic recovering from the holidays, as I'm sure anybody with children would agree with.
Oh God,
and
yeah.
The weather sucked. It's cold. Haven't fished in like 2 weeks, so been kind of sad.
You're pent up. Yeah, for real. You can only there's just only so much live streams and stuff you can listen to and get fishing stuff. But hopefully today we're giving you guys a little reprieve from everything from after the holidays and getting you excited about the warm weather, about the Kayak Adventure Series. Man, but it was a good Christmas for us. You know, I see my sister's on saying, hey, Ryan Van Tyne is on. So surprise, surprise. How in the world does that guy have alerts for every single thing kayak fishing related? He is instantly on commenting. Man, shout out to that guy. He's hardcore. But yeah, the Gregory family Christmas, we do that in Georgia. Obviously that's, where I grew up. And then from there, we went straight on down here to Florida. So we had a good Christmas there, good Christmas in Ohio. And we're now avoiding the cold and snow. It looks like it's about to come up in Northeast Ohio. So I cannot complain. The kids are happy. No secrets are spoiled. I know, Billy, they're probably not listening now, but even if they are, remember last time, but was almost given away, but somebody is definitely real, but yeah, it's all been good, man. Billy, how was your Christmas, man? Good,
man. It was great. Like I said, the kids are a little bit older, so they kind of fend for themselves if I want to take an extra nap or something like that. I'm kind of that part of my life. I never thought I'd be here, but here I am. You can sleep in on Christmas morning if I want to. The presents are still there that Santa brought, but they're not at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever time they used to wake up when they were little. It was bananas.
Absolutely, man. Hey, what about the Bengals, dude? I mean, they have to win. Do they have to win to get in? What's the situation? No, isn't it like tight in that division or no?
We're out.
You're out for sure.
Yep.
So we had
to beat the Chiefs and didn't happen, so we are out.
Oh man, what's the division? Isn't there one division where everyone still has like a chance if they? I thought there was one that everyone's like.
I think it was the AFC North. AFC North was pretty good. I mean,
it was. Yeah.
I think the NFC South, both the NFC and AFC South are still open because they literally mirror each other. So like depending on the last game, both those divisions, like it could go any way. I think there's only like one.
Panthers, except for the Panthers.
Yeah.
NFC
yeah.
South,
Well,
everyone except for them. Oh, maybe I'm thinking about the Jaguars and the Titans and the Texans and the Colts. Everybody in that division, I think, is still in it. No, sorry, not the Titans.
What's like the Falcons, Tampa Bay,
right.
And like
New
Orleans, and then
exactly. There's three of them in that one. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
And then it's the Texans, Colts, 6.
Yeah, there's 3 in that division. Speaking of football, dude, guess who's the fantasy football champ this year?
I'm gonna guess
with you,
Drew.
All right, Won the championship. Yes, give me
There you go.
the applause, something. Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It's, you know, I only play, well, actually I do play in 2 leagues now. I'm playing with a bunch of kayak angler guys, but I couldn't get into that league because you know, you got your league that's like your hardcore league. You play with all your friends for a long time. Anyway, but I won the championships. That was pretty cool. And my brother-in-law Rich did as well. So we were there watching games, and it was pretty cool. So,
well, since my Bengals are eliminated, let's just move on.
Yeah, let's just move on.
No more football.
What are we doing next here? What do we got next?
Let's do news and notes.
Yes,
some big stuff going on.
So news and notes. Yeah, we got a few things to mention here today, guys. Been working hard, even though we had a big long break here. One thing I would have mentioned that wasn't mentioned during the first live stream, we did the top 10 reasons to fish a KAS. One of the things I just wanted to mention that I think was pretty cool, that could have made that list, by the way, was we are giving away the checks that the anglers earn. You're getting a check when you walk off the stage. Like literally it will be filled out for you in your hand when you walk off the stage. And I don't think we mentioned that one. And people had brought that up to me like, oh, you should have mentioned that. It's pretty cool, because who wants to wait for their money, right? Isn't that kind of an issue with, you know, not just kayak fishing tournaments? Obviously that's been a little bit of an issue somewhat too, but any tournaments and anything like this, you know, I went to the bank, I set up a separate bank account that the money from Tourney X, when the anglers register, it goes straight into that account, straight out. It never even connects with any of the other account that sponsors, you know, contribute to, any other income that would come in, right? So it's never touched by us whatsoever. So we'll always have it for you guys. So because of that, we're going to hand a check right when you're walking off the stage. And I think what we're probably going to do is the top 10 will go on the stage at every event. If we have 200 people and that's 20 people, would be the top 10%. We're paying out the top 10% for sure, but the top 10 are the only ones that are going to be on stage to be interviewed with the mic and have a picture and video, you know, on the screen, right? So anyone else who's in the top 10% who does get a check, don't worry, you're still going to get a moment on stage, but you're just going to get to walk up the stage. We call your name, you walk across. We might do something funny. You guys can think about this, where everyone gets to say maybe one word that describes their week, or maybe one sentence or something. So you put the mic in their hand as they walk across, they say one thing, and then they keep walking across, get their check, and roll on. So they still get a chance to be on stage, get their picture, you know, be on the Kayak Adventure Series stage. But the results would take forever if you had 20 people up there, or 30, paying out the top 10%, giving them all 5 minutes. We'd be there forever. And we've got a team division, we have an individual division, the youth, the top lady angler. We have a lot of stuff to do, other awards and cool things that we're doing. So anyway, that's kind of how that's being done. And the checks on stage is pretty cool. And you can't cash them till Monday. Anyway, so banks will be closed, and that's our protest period ends on Sunday night. So you got a whole full day from 3:00 since lines out. Anyway, so that's that. Another thing I was going to mention is we did make a slight adjustment. It'll reflect on the website real soon. We did a poll for how much would we charge for microbag, since microbag has to be a separate tournament to enter, which actually ended up being a really, really good thing and a blessing in disguise, because a lot of people just want to fish these events just to fish the microbag division, and they didn't want to pay $150 for the individual division, in which before we were just going to include microbag as part of it. So they just want to do that. So it's $25 for both the microbag and the side pot Sunday tournament. So that way it keeps both of those entries the same. It makes it easy to understand and digest. $25 for those two sort of side games, if you want to call them that. And then next week, guys, this is something I want to make sure we mention now before the end of the show. Next week's live stream, guys, is the official Shoaliepalooza live stream, which means you can register for Shoaliepalooza starting next week. At the moment this live stream goes live, you'll be able to hit the register buttons on the kayakadventureseries.com website. When you click on events, go to Shoaliepalooza, Thomaston, Georgia. You'll be able to register starting next week. And remember, the first 100 people who register for each event will get a gift bag worth $100 of sponsors products. So thank you to all the sponsors for that. Couldn't do it without. That's $60,000 worth of stuff we're giving away for free. 6 events times 600. Isn't that right? 600. Yeah, I think so. It's $60,000, right? Someone do the math. Yeah. So
I'm not doing math.
all right, well, dude, what are you here for? Help me out, man. You're like the producer guy that's supposed to be like looking stuff up and double checking math and whatever. But anyway, it's like a lot of stuff thanks to the sponsors, and you guys will be able to get that going. And it'd be cool if we can hit 100. We might even be giving away some extra prizes for people that register during the live stream as you're listening and watching. So, I mean, knowing Ryan Van Tyne and people like him, who are RGM, Ryan Rice right here from RGM Fishtails. I mean, hey, they're probably going to be registering right away because for all of these events that they're going to go to, because they're just on top of stuff, man. They're on it. So I see the comments getting pulled up here. Yeah, Phil, hey, man, he's got the vacation time already put in for work. So speaking of, do you want to go into the main event that we're going to talk about today a little bit?
Yeah, well, before the main event, we also had the Omnia code.
Oh, yes, that's
throw
right.
that out a little bit, yeah.
That's right, the Omnia code because it was, this is our Omnia news and notes. So the Omnia code for Kayak Adventure Series, folks, is KAS15. That'll get you 15% off at omniafishing.com. Go check it out. And we're going to get some more information on their app. We've talked about their app last week and the week before, but that app, the Premium Pro version, it's well worth the price for sure. All the tips and the tools and the tricks it has in there, definitely worth it. Go check it out. So KAS15, get you 15% off Omnia Fishing. So love it. Good call, Billy. Keeping us on track.
Yeah, like it. All right. So GoPro main event, because there is something going on. You've got some big news.
Yeah.
You've been busy. You're in the truck. We know you have a meeting, but you've been in the truck because you've been traveling, not just with family. You've been doing some other things. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So we're not going to get too deep into this because we're really talking about it more next week. But I did want to just give you guys a little bit of a sense or a feeling of what it was like to be at a venue, at a site. I'm at another one here, or potential one here today. But like seeing, we're getting closer now. It's 2024 already. And I was in Thomaston, Georgia, doing a site visit on my way down here with the family and seeing all the stuff. And I can't talk about it all now. Again, it'll spoil it. But there was just some wild and crazy cool stuff they have planned for us, the venues. And I was going to show you guys a few things. So let me quickly pull it up. So I got a video here I want to show you guys. Chills standing here in the Ritz Theater, guys. This was built in 1927, which you can probably even see with the architecture on the ceiling and all the intricacies that you guys are going to get to experience in person at Shoaliepalooza. Come with me real quick. You're going to be on this stage right here, guys. This incredible stage. Look at all these seats. It seats like 500 Susans. 500 is all right. 440, so almost 500 people. And I cannot wait to be on that stage to MC this, to give you guys some incredible awards and some prizes. And most importantly, let's face it, you're going to have a lot of fun catching the fish, but to have this venue is incredible. Sophia, do you like the Ritz Theater? Yeah?
I'm coming down.
You're coming down? You're going to go down and get your award?
Yeah.
Okay, Theo, you too, buddy? All right, guys, I can't wait. We'll see you here at the Ritz. All right. So that was a pretty cool scene there at the balcony of the Ritz, which is, I think we might make that a VIP section for our media, for the podcast of the media, those folks that, deserve that, and maybe give a little food up there or something, who knows. But it was just so cool being there, seeing some of the venues we're going to use, and some of them are just incredible. I'm going to present another little video here. And you guys, I think Zach from Dark Horse Tackle just posted something too. You guys might want to share that. Go look at his comment. I think he just sent me a text. I think it came through, but check this video. This is pretty cool here. Check this out. Yeah, what are you eating? We're eating here at Slice's Pizzeria, right in the downtown square. And then check out what's going on right across the street on the Ritz. And if you guys can see that, you pause that, you guys zoom in there. There it says Kayak Adventure Series Shoaliepalooza, May 2024. And when you walk around the town, everybody I was introduced to in the town, they know like what's going on. They're like, oh, Shoaliepalooza, yeah, man, I saw that in the town calendar. I'm excited about that. They're all like getting pumped for this event. And there's so many cool things to do around that town square. I mean, there's an axe throwing place. We can drink and throw axes. There's just so many fun things to do. There's a speakeasy. Can't really talk about where or when or how that could play into the week, but there was a speakeasy, and it was the most incredible thing I'd ever seen. Probably share more about it next week.
You
But
gotta
there's just
you
all
gotta know the
these.
secret password
Yeah,
to
you have
get
to have
into
it.
it.
Exactly. You have to know the secret password. There's just all kinds of stuff going on. But we'll share this from Zach. He says he's going to give away a free Dark Horse tackle box to the first person who registers on the live stream next week. So first person who registers, let's say we'll call it the first person who registers for the individual division. You don't have to register for, you can obviously register for everything, micro bag, team, all that. So first person who registers for the individual division will get a box. That's pretty cool. Thank you guys, Dark Horse. You guys are awesome. Can't wait to have you guys at events, and people can see more and more about what your brand and what you guys are all about with, small businesses and just the baits and the cool stuff that are happening in small businesses. And hey, Kayak Adventure Series is a small business. So love it. Perfect fit.
Yeah. And I still can't get over, you said, and I saw Jake kind of smirk a little bit too. You said drink and throw axes. So
Yeah, it seems like a deadly combo.
that was amazing. And that pizza looked really good.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was really good. It's just like I was blown. So here's the thing about Thomaston, Georgia. I have driven through that town so many times, fished there. You go through the little downtown, you know how it is. We're just focused on going to the river and fishing. We don't really think about the towns that much and the actual downtowns. And back when I was in Georgia and I grew up there and was fishing, there was nothing in that town. You drive through it, it's kind of like a ghost town. It's like crickets. But man, things have changed so much since 2021. Even in the last 3 years, the amount of cool shops and places and things to do for the family and the kids, and all they're talking about doing with blocking off the streets and allowing open container and putting in this huge stage in front of the courthouse and the kids zone, or the whole city block that's just going to be all kid stuff and all the vendor tents. It's like pretty insane between the shops, the cool stuff. It's stuff that you would see like in a bigger city, because I don't know, man, it's just stuff you'd have to see. It makes you want to move there. I'm telling you, like, when you go to that downtown, you look at every shop and go in there, you're like, this is so cool. Knowing the fishing's awesome right there too. I want to live in this town. And what happened? Here's a cool little tip. Not tip, but just something I learned and I figured out it's not the city manager. I can't remember his title. We'll probably have him on the podcast, Taylor, next week. The guy that's really kind of making, the mover and shaker in town, that's helping this city change into what it is. Cause it's just outside of Atlanta, outside of Macon. It's close enough to a couple of big cities that people can get to airports and things like that. It's on the Atlanta airport side of Atlanta, right? It's on the south side of town. So people are starting to realize now after COVID, we could work remotely. So some jobs, more people are working remotely, or they only have to go in the office 2 or 3 days a week. So cities like the size of Thomaston, that sort of size city, are starting to get super revitalized because of that. Because it's big enough. It's got all the, stuff you would need anyway, your stores and whatnot. So it's pretty cool, man. I can't wait. Let me see if there's anything else I would want to show you guys before I, let's see.
Yeah, they mentioned that Poplar Bluff was going through a very similar renaissance.
I think so, because when
I
we were
remember
there
talking
earlier,
to the commerce people that were saying that they have a lot of people moving there who work remotely, and they like the outdoors.
Yeah,
so
that's amazing. And then when you just think about the format for a Kayak Adventure Series in general, a lot of people, even anglers that work remotely, it's possible because maybe you do work a little bit on, Friday or Saturday, because you can do some of that work remotely. So pretty cool. But I remember driving around in Ohio, and I know Illinois is the same way. Kind of to your point, Drew, when you go to these lakes, you go through all these small towns and you don't even think about it. And my son had actually mentioned it to me. He's 17. And I was like, hey, do you remember going to this tournament or that? And he's like, yeah, we didn't do very well. He's like, remember that town we drove through? And no matter if it's like the old statues or the old building, because they don't, it doesn't change a lot, over the however many years, 100 years or whatever, the town, it's like it's, still back in time. And it's so cool. So I'm excited. I got goosebumps a couple times.
Excited, man.
You were talking about that. Yeah.
I'm just as excited in that theater, if you guys saw that, it's 1927, the architecture, the whole experience is going to be something like we've never experienced yet in kayak fishing. There's nothing wrong with holding the awards right there at a boat ramp or a pavilion or a Holiday Inn lobby, whatever. That's like great. But this is just, dude, like just seeing it, it was so just special and like so different. Like people are going to have some incredible memories on that stage, and their lives are going to get changed, and people are going to meet other people and their families and their wives and the kids are all going to connect and meet. And it's just this atmosphere of like fun and fellowship that just so cool thinking about that. I was going to show you a picture here. There's the Ritz when they were putting on the sign. We got a picture there. There we are with the family, and you can see right below where
cool.
it says Kayak Adventure Series Shoaliepalooza coming May 2024. Here's that theater shot. I mean, look at that. It's just, I mean, can you imagine confetti and smoke going off when on that stage with your videos? Most importantly, look at the size of that screen in high definition. Somebody's incredible fish catches that happened that day or the day before, us getting to watch and laugh and, you know, about anything that we show on that screens can be pretty cool.
Yeah, it seems
And
like they've done a really good job of updating it, but keeping it like
yeah,
modern yet still, you
for
know,
sure.
that old
They
school
really
feel.
have. Yeah. And they've got, there was this really cool up on the square kind of restaurant bar, and it's a rooftop, so you'll be able to like sit up there and have drinks and eat. There's that giant chest. There's putt up there, like a putting green, not like putt, just like a putting green. You can play games up there, cornhole. There's all kinds of fun stuff we can do up on that rooftop as well, and utilize that. There's just so many cool venues. I want to tell you guys about them all now, but it's kind of supposed to be saved for next week when we'll get into the fishing. So just so you know, anybody who ever asks me any questions about the fishing, because Dustin's right here too, and I was telling him like, man, all I can ever say to anybody is what we're going to say on the live stream. So anybody asks me personally anything about the fishing in Georgia, because I know it, I can only repeat to you what I'm going to say publicly, and that's it. You know, just it's the way obviously it has to be, right? To be fair, but we're going to go over and we're going to talk about some details, some stuff, and maybe some strategy, but we're not going to like talk about exact spots and stuff like that. But we're going to definitely go over the fishing next week. We're going to go over, you know, the lodging situation. I think that's the one that probably is going to be the most challenging for the lodging once, if we start to get up into the, you know, a couple hundred people, start getting way up there in the entries. Who knows how many we'll have, but you know, there's definitely, but I would say get your lodging soon, for sure for that one. But we'll get into all this stuff. We'll talk to Taylor from the city. I'll bring in, I think Crescent might end up being the manufacturer sponsor for that one, because it just makes sense to raffle off a Shoalie for the Shoaliepalooza, a Shoalie kayak, and to raise money for pediatric cancer. So that's probably what we're going to do there. And yeah, just get into the whole thing and all the little details, walk through the whole itinerary, and just have some fun with it. And we'll actually bring in some of the our influencer, social media, whatever you call them, content creators, influencers. We could use whatever. We'll bring in some of those guys from Georgia to get their opinions on the Shoaliepalooza. That's going to be fun. So we'll have a lot of people popping in and out, little 10-minute, 15, 20-minute little pop in and outs. So
yeah, we had a lot of good ones from that area.
There are a lot of good guys in that area for sure. So it's going to be, I'm just kind of blown away and torn on what in the world would even like I would do, you know, at that event, like how I would try to win it, because it's going to be a tricky one to figure out. I mean, so we'll see. We got, I think that's about it from here, but I just want to let you guys know I'm excited, and seeing it all in person is just a game changer. It feels more real now. We're about to get people registered. I was just at the event, the venue, and just visualizing it. It's going to be awesome. So it's going to
be an exciting live stream next week. So you guys definitely do not want to miss next week's live stream. But Drew, thank you for joining. I know you got to jump off here.
Well, let me introduce our guest real quick, because I got just a minute or two to do that, or with the next segment, so you can understand kind of why he's here. And then I'm going to roll across the street here. Angler Spotlight. So we're going to have Ryan Rice. You guys know him as RJM Fishtails on for an Angler Spotlight segment. He's talked about, man, the second this whole thing came out and the schedule, the whole Kayak Adventure Series and the schedule came out, Ryan like messaged me and he was like, how in the world did you find Towanda, Pennsylvania? He was like blown away. I was like, well, it's pretty simple. I kind of know from fishing around the country, and whether it was for Hooked on Wild Waters, fishing in my shows, traveling when I was back with Jackson Kayak, and or now like at doing tournaments in the last several years, I've just kind of fished everywhere. And I knew there was good fishing there on the Susquehanna. We all know that, obviously. And further up, I was like, I wanted to take people to new places with this kayak adventure series. That's what it's all about. New adventures, new places. And because that's what I love and what a lot of us out there love is just the fishing new water and exploring. So, of course, now we get to see new cities and new venues and cool places we're going to go. Anyway, apparently he's got a little tie. I'll let him describe it. Let's bring him in. He's got a little tie to Tawanda that he can explain. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Yeah, just I'm going to leave here in a couple minutes, but I want to at least be on here while you tell that first story. And then you messaged me this morning and how you ended up on this live stream today for the Angler Spotlight segment, our first one.
So when I saw you post that you were in Tawanda, it like blew my mind, like you said. I'm like, how did he find Tawanda? And you just explained that. But you know, that's where I was born. My mother moved back there, so my mother lives back there now. I grew up on the Susquehanna River in the Tawanda area. I used to fish with my uncles when they want to take me out on their boats, which was rare. But I'd fish off the bank, you know, up there all the time. And, you know, before I moved out of there, but I was there until I was about 10 years old. So it brings back a lot of memories. And then when I saw you put this out, I had to go definitely join this one.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. And of course, what the next thing I do is I Google movie theaters and I find the ones, you know, your AMCs and all the Regals are going to show up, but I find the ones that are in the city that is kind of like that medium-sized town that's got that marquee and that cool historic theater. And the Keystone Theater is right there in Tawanda. There was another one called the Sayre Theater just up in Sayre, Pennsylvania, but both of them were owned by the county. And I talked to them and they thought this was such a great idea. That movie theater, as you know, Ryan, is right on the water. It's literally right there. The river is right there. The coolest part about that event is that you're going to be able to go Eastside Park on the other side of the river from the festival, sort of, you know, our festival that happens starting around 2 p.m. until we get to the theater for the awards, which would be like, you know, 6 p.m. You're going to be able to, you could, in theory, take your kayak, just paddle across the Susquehanna, and we're going to have police there actually watching, and you could just tie your kayak up right there, walk up the bank, and go into the theater for the awards, right, from the festival. Or you could, of course, get in your car and drive across the bridge, but it'd be way more fun to hop in your kayak and do it that way. Although you got to think about it, though, at the end of after the awards, we go to the after party. So that means you're going to have to paddle back across the river after the after party to take out the ramp. So I don't know, depending on how much you have to drink, if you want to be trying to cross the Susquehanna. But yeah, no, it's really cool to have you on, man. And these guys are going to ask you some more questions and get your thoughts on the events, the schedule, the whole thing. And you guys talk as long as you want. I'm going to go meet with a city right now about seeing if they want to have us for 2025. So guys have a good show, good rest of the show. And I'm sure we'll bring in some viewer comments. The last thing I did want to say before I forget was, oh gosh, I may have already forgotten it, dude. It was kind of something I wanted to mention. It was critical to maybe next week, but I'll text you, Billy, if I think about it. Or you guys, I'll text
Sounds
you.
Good. All right,
guys. Catch you later. See you.
See you later.
Show.
All right, and then we also want to bring in like these comments too. So if anyone has, you know, any specific questions for Ryan, but Ryan, why don't you just tell us a little bit more about you? I know you're on Instagram and Facebook. Obviously you're on Facebook. You're on YouTube with the RJM Fishtails. Tell me a little bit about the name. How'd you come up with the name?
So RJM is me, my son, and my wife. So you got Ryan, Jared, and Meredith. So I'm like, you know, let me just use the initials and Fishtails. I just figured it's just telling stories about fishing, whether they're true or not. But you know, that's how I came up with the name. I just figured it'd be a fun way to do it, and it just flowed right when I said it out loud. So I'm like, you know, I'm gonna go with RJM Fishtails. So that's how I came up with the name. And it's, you know, as my son's getting older, I'm gonna bring him more on the kayak. I have him on the kayak now. I've only done like one video with him, but he's going to be 6 in July. So I think this year will be a little bit more of a breakout year for him. So I'll probably do some more videos with him on the kayak too. That's why I got the new canoe so we can set up for tandem. But, you know, I started the channel back in, I think, 2021. So I think I've been at it for about 2 years now. I just want to, you know, share my experiences on the water with others and, you know, any how-to videos or any tips or any products that I like to use that I believe are good products that work well, you know, because I'm always water testing them basically anyway. And I just like to share that information with others who are new to kayaking or, somebody who's even been out there and said, oh, that product looks a little bit better than what I'm using. So that's why I started the whole channel. And I think I started Instagram a little earlier. I signed up for YouTube to save the name, but I didn't start YouTube till a few years later. So that's how it all started. And, I've been fishing now since, I was a young age up in the Susquehanna and Towanda. So I just kind of went with me, and just like everybody else's story, you just kind of start with it. It turns into a hobby, then into a passion. So that's where I spend all my money.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yep.
I did have another question, but Jake, you have any questions?
No, I mean, were you mostly you said you were bank fishing on the Susky when you were up there?
Yeah, and I was a kid, so I was, no experience. I was just throwing probably a rooster tail or something in there,
Hey
every now
man,
and then.
rooster tail is tried and true.
I know it is.
Especially for smallmouth. Like, I know so many people here in the Ozarks that they literally, that's all they'll throw is rooster tails, and they catch giants on it. So
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And then, I'd use like the real Helgamites, because that's what my uncles, they used to do a lot of live bait fishing. So they would catch them and they would throw them down the back of my shirt so they would pinch me. But, I would grab those and just throw them on a hook and try for the smallmouth that way too. And I would just kind of wade into the rapids a little bit in the little areas that are shallow on the Susquehanna, especially during the summertime. It's super shallow anyway. So you can almost walk across from where Drew's going to have the ceremony, not the ceremony, like in the park across the way. You can almost walk across that in the summertime.
So hold on a sec. Is this, so this right here, this is the downtown, right, of Towanda?
Is that the downtown? I'm trying to look on my phone here. So I'm looking at that one picture.
So this is like from their website. It looks really shallow right there, and I guess that's the bridge that connects that Drew was talking about.
Yeah, that looks like that's higher up. I can't really see on my phone, but there's
it's
a
kind of like
bridge.
it's a landscape type photo. So
yeah, that's the bridge. Yep, and then you go literally from the park to the movie theater. You can see that, and you can see the town hall from across at the park where he's going to have the jump house and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like your typical Susky style area. Like, it looks like you could literally just walk across it. I'm guessing that's taken in the summer based on the trees too. So, I mean, when we were at Susky for the Bass event back in October, I mean, that water was, I think you could have weighted like 90% of what I fished. So, it's definitely
absolutely
interesting.
Yep, it's a pretty shallow river. I mean, you got your deep pockets, but it's a pretty shallow running river, which is nice especially for kayak fishing. Now, I've never been on the river yet in a kayak. I just kind of moved out of there, went to New Jersey. Now I'm down in South Carolina, so I haven't really spent much time in a kayak actually on that river. So it's almost going to be a new experience for me when I go up there and fish it. But I'm going to be up there all week. I got my lodging already. Even though my mother lives there, I can't stay with her for a week. She'll be worried the whole time. She worries every time I go on the water. So I'm actually going to stay at one of the cabins I think that Drew was at last time when he was up there. So nice. I booked one of those cabins, and so I'm already, got my lodging done. I'm already, full in to go up there for this event for the Fiesta on the Susky.
I mean, it's definitely one of the more, that river is like, it's just a kayak river. Like, I've never caught so many fish. Like, I was looking back at my stats going through like my 2023, like, looking back to see like what months were the best. And I was like, wow, October was really skewed here. And I was thinking about it. I was like, that's probably because you were catching like 40, 50 fish per day on the Susky. Now, in the actual tournament, that didn't happen. But during practice, it was like a free for all. So I'm actually really excited because like I've never had more fun in a fishery than I did on the Susky. I think lacrosse is close, but the fish in the Susky are just fat. They're just, they're mean, they're angry, they're everywhere, they're shallow, they're deep, they're in the rapids. So I'm really excited.
Yep.
Yeah. And you do think that it's like a fishtail when you have that buddy that tells you for the first time that, man, you'll catch a 12-inch on the Susky and you swear you caught a 15, 16-inch fish, and then you get it in there. It's a, or a 10-inch or something. You catch those little ones. They're mean. Yeah, they're mean. They fight. And then I can echo with what you said, Jake. One of my favorite tournaments ever was one of the Hobie BOS on the Susky. I loved it. So much fun. Why don't you, Ryan, I had a question about your tandem setup, because you said your son's getting a little bit older. Tell us more about like your plans and how you're going to set that up.
So I've taken him on it already. So I got the New Canoe Unlimited. I got the foot control steering from New Canoe with the Torpedo on the back, and it actually has the shorter cable that you can just have the foot steering itself pushed back a little bit, and I just sit him in front of me. I've been out with him already without the motor, with just a paddle, so I was able to keep the seat forward a little bit. But with the balancing of him, he's about 50 some pounds, and I'm about 205 now, so it works out very well. But it's nice with that foot control steering from New Canoe, their little kit they have for the Torpedo or I think the Newport vessel. It's nice that they had these cables already figured out lengthwise to be able to put your seat back at the optimal area, and then have my son in front of me. And with those 360 seats, he can turn and face me, or I can turn him if I need to turn him or whatever. So he's been out, like I said, once on it already, and he loved it, but he's also 5 years old. So it was probably an hour and a half trip max, and he was starting to get bored, but he likes to go fishing. We have a little pond where we live, so he likes to go fishing. He asks me all the time, but yeah, I'm trying to get him to the point where he can stay on the kayak a little bit longer. But I've always wanted a new canoe. I looked at them back in the day before I bought my Hobie PA. I still have my Hobie, but it was now time to get the new canoe for the tandem setup. That's why I went that route. I looked at a bunch of other ones. I had recommendations from other people, but I always wanted a new canoe. I wanted something a little bit, beefier, wider, and I felt like it could handle the weight capacity with all of us on there. And I could also take my wife on there too, and you can do the little bench seat in between, and so you really have 3 people on that kayak, which is nice.
Yeah, you can get a lot of gear in those new canoes, and like there's a lot of things you can do to them too, because it's that open platform style kayak. Like you could put, they have their pedal drive you could even put in it. I've seen people put decks in new canoes where like you've got the big tandem ones that have actually been converted into like they have like a walking deck in front. So it's kind of wild.
Yeah, they're big. That's why I got that. I like that open platform. The Hobie's still pretty open and nice, but I like having nothing in front of me so I can have a place to throw things down. And I like the simplicity of it, but at the same time, with all the track, you can just go as crazy as you want.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've personally even thought about doing for the family, is getting a tandem kayak where you can have the kids sit in the front and you're just kind of paddling around, because you never know. If I put them in my smaller kayaks, you never know how they're going to react when you get out of the water. So
yeah, and with that open deck, you can just sit on the deck itself too. So you don't even have to throw a seat on there if you're going out for a short trip. And believe it or not, it paddles very well for a big boat. You're not going to win any races, but it does track well. It does paddle well. That's how I first tested it, was just the paddle, because I wanted to see how it paddled. And I really liked it. So then that's my primary kayak now. That's what I use all the time. This way I'm comfortable on it. So when I throw him on it, I know what our limitations are. I still use the Hobie every now and then when I want to go take a little pond by my house, just to throw it out there and just pedal around. But I really like the new canoe. So.
And then I don't want to steal any thunder from any of your videos. So I don't expect you to go over all if you guys want to check out these videos, go to YouTube, RJM Fishtails. But you did have one that was the top mistakes people make when buying a kayak, which, by the way, a great title for a YouTube video. It's about 7 months old, that video. Have you learned anything from the time you released that video to now that you would update anyone, or what are some of the biggest tips you would give, or things to avoid?
My number one item on that video was that you have to water test the kayak yourself. You can take all the advice you want from everybody else. That does help. But until everybody's balance is different. Everybody's likes and how they like to lay out the kayaks are different. You really need to get on a kayak. And that's like the number one mistake, is just going to get a kayak off of somebody else's advice. You need to really find the places, even if it takes you 2 hours to go there, to water test it. 'Cause I know depending on where everybody lives, there may not be a place close by. Me personally, when I picked up my Hobie this time around, I actually drove 6 hours to get it, so I will drive and take the time to water test a kayak, and that's your primary thing that you need to do. You need to get on that kayak yourself and really test it out and see what the tipping point is, see that first and second stability on it. And you really got to just get on it yourself, because kayaks you can get into them pretty inexpensive, but then they also are expensive. So you got to make sure you're making the right choice. This way you're not spending it twice, and spending a lot more than you need to. So that's my biggest thing, is you got to try out the kayak for yourself.
Definitely. That's good advice. I know I made the mistake of buying a a Crescent Ultralight, which is an amazing boat. I wish I still had it. I bought it for the creeks, and it was perfect. I'd throw my feet over the edge of the ultralight. But then I took it out on some bigger water and I flipped it. So all I did was I turned, and I was used to the PA, so I turned and just lost my balance and tried to catch myself, flipped. Learned a lot that day about tethering all your stuff. But also to your point, I think if I had tested it, I bought it down Raccoon Creek. But if I had went down there and tested it first, I don't know that I would have bought it. So and to Dustin Hoy's credit, I think he told me, "Are you sure you want this one? Maybe you should get the light tackle or whatever the next size up was." And he was right. So definitely
even when I went for the new canoe the first time, because I've never physically been on one on the water, I took my son with me. I made the people put 2 seats on it, from the dealer, and I took him out first time, and I was actually in salt water. So I was in current, I was in a little bit of chop, and I'm like, well, if I could handle it in this, with him on it, I know I'd be fine. And I paddled in the chop, in the wind, in current. I think the tide was probably going out at the time too. So, I mean, I knew I was going to be, just from being on the water for 20 minutes, I knew I was going to be secure. I was going to feel secure enough and safe to have my son with me as well. So that's how I water tested. It was a great place to water test. It wasn't calm. It was just a kind of a windy day. The tide was going out, and it was a good way to test it to make sure it was safe enough.
A lot of people too, they want different styles of kayaks. And like when I bought my first real kayak in 2019 was a 106, Old Town 106. And that is like kind of like those new canoes, it's the pontoon style, super, super stable. And I like it. It's great if you want to be in that scenario where you're standing up a lot, you're moving around a lot inside the kayak. But like for me, it didn't fit my fishing style as well, because I like to kind of run and gun and be able to stand up. And like when I got into the Shoalie and saw the Shoalie, I was like, okay, that's perfect. And that's what I mainly fish out of now. But recently I've actually been fishing out of the Old Town a little bit more on lakes. And it really made me realize like there's not a kayak that's perfect for everything. Like you kind of have to try it out and figure out what you want to do. But at the end of the day, like every kayak's going to have its strengths and weaknesses. So I think that's something a lot of people overlook when they're buying a kayak, myself, because you're never going to find the kayak that's going to be good at everything, because you're going to always make that sacrifice. So
yeah, but that's another thing too. You got to buy the kayak based on what you're going to be doing at least 75% of the time. If you want to get into, a lot of river, but you like to do the lake or the big water, you're going to have 2. Like you said, I would just grab the Shoalie or whatever for river, and then keep the new canoe for the big water and the Hobie.
Because like if you want to be out there like live scoping in a kayak, or even like kids, you're going to need something a little bit more stable. Because like I have a live sonar unit that I've put on the Shoalie, and I just like it's not really, it works, sure, but like it's a lot easier to do in like the Old Town, because you could just stay in one spot and like not move, which is not really a discredit to either kayak, because they're designed to do different things. So
yeah, and I mean, then we get to keep buying kayaks.
Yeah,
as long as we have somewhere to put them.
Yeah,
just keep getting them. I think Jake would get mad at me, and maybe Drew would beat me up if I talked too much about the kayaking and didn't bring it back to the Susky. And just if you think about, August of this year, I guess it's 2024 now, August of this year, and the Susky. What do you and you mentioned it a little bit already, but is there anything else that you're really looking forward to, or anything, if you were gonna hype people up or tell people that haven't fished that stretch of the river, anything else you want to say about it?
I mean, as far as the river, I mean, it's a great fishery. There's really no way to hype that up even more than it already is. But just for the Kayak Adventure Series itself, to be able to have your family, being it's a family-oriented event, I think that's a huge step in another, the Adventure Series. Just in the kayaking in general, I think it's a great idea that you came up with this. Unfortunately, my son starts school a week earlier, but my wife's gonna try to figure this out, but she's gonna try to make it up to this event, and that's the whole plan. And then they change the school schedule. Yeah, I think that's what's gonna really, I think, make it enjoyable for everybody, because you can bring your whole family with you. It's going to be a fun event. It's going to be serious at the same time, but then you still have that family time. Your family who may never been to an event with you, be able to experience this. And then, Drew, you guys can keep the family busy while we're out fishing. and it's just gonna be nice having it in the theater. You know, like he says, on these stages. I think it was a great idea. The Susquehanna, if you don't come to this event, I mean, there's no other way to say it, but, you know, I'm trying to be nice about it, but you got to come to this event. I think to be one of the best. I think this and Shoaliepalooza is going to be the two best events of the year, in my opinion. But, you know, there's really no way to really hype this one up even more. I just think that everybody has to come to this one, make the time, save the PTO from work, and make it to this event. So I think it's going to be a great turnout. You know, Towanda itself is a cute little town. It's had its ups and downs. It's coming back now. It's that small little town that you can just walk the streets. There's a little mom and pop stores that are still opening back up now. So it's getting nice up there. And it's a great place to go. And there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of wars there. There's a lot of places you can go see, statues. And they got the POW MIA thing right there by the river that I actually have in one of my videos when I was up there that I filmed on YouTube. It's a great place to go even hunting. I mean, this area is well known for hunters as well. I mean, there's people that come out of town. You know, when I was from New Jersey, every time I would go up to visit my family, I'd see more Jersey plates than PA plates when I was there. And people just come up and hunting. So, and just the fishing, I mean, it's such a long river. You know, we can be spread out. We're not going to be on top of each other. You know, there's 2 launches that I'm going to be launching out of, which is not even in Towanda. I'm going to go actually north. But I mean, you can make it down to Towanda on a float on the kayak if you want in probably about 2 hours, you know, if not even that. But it's just a great river. There's so many different, the scenery alone is beautiful. I mean, there's a cargo train tracks that run along it. There's bridges, you know, as you're out there fishing, the trains are coming by. So just even if you want to do it just for fun and not compete as serious, it's just a great destination to go for kayak fishing. So I think people are really going to enjoy it, even if you don't do well in the competition.
Now, is the water in that stretch of the river clearer? Because that's technically the North Branch, right?
It's
Or is
clear.
it-
When I was just up there in
is it?
November to visit my mother, I mean, you could see easily right off the shore. I was seeing down 3-4 feet. You could see every rock. It's clear. Only time that river gets really muddy in that area is if they have a lot of heavy rain. So I'm hoping
Right.
when this event happens that we are pretty dry and we will have super clear water, which could also make the fishing a little tougher. But
Yeah.
you know, it's definitely a clear stretch of water for sure.
I definitely
So,
said when I fished the Susky, the clear sections were definitely more challenging, but the
mhm.
fish were still there. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, it literally, like, that's the great thing about the Susky is the fish is really big. You're not gonna, even if there's like 15 people at your ramp, you're not even gonna notice. Like, I was really concerned about that when I was fishing in the tournament, and I noticed that like the river's so wide. It's basically like a lake that goes, all the way down, all the way back, that it just fishes big. And like you could pretty much do whatever you want on that. You could jerk bait, top water, spinner bait, chatter bait, whatever you want. And that's the great thing
mhm.
about August is the water's warm and the fish will be biting. So
Yep. And it's up in that area. It's not like super fast moving. It moves, but it's not like crazy. That's why I think it keeps it a little bit more cleaner and clear.
do they have a lot of like the grass islands and stuff up in that section?
Yeah.
Or is it
I mean, yeah, they do. They do. There's a lot of little islands along that stretch. Like I'll just tell everybody where I'm launching. I'm gonna be launching out of Athens. So there's
all
a
right,
ramp
writing
right up
that
there,
down?
right up at underneath the bridge, and it's pretty flat and calm there, and it's wide across. But right as soon as you go underneath the bridge, there's an island that separates. It like breaks off into 2 different branches of the river. Then it'll come back together. There's a lot of bigger islands there, but as far as the grass, yes, but no. It's kind of hard to tell when I was up there in November, but I can just judge. You can see like the little dead sticks sticking up. So I think there's going to be a lot of little grassy ones there, but there's a lot of larger breaks in that branch of the river around
Right.
larger islands. So, you could go hit one side, spin back around, motor back up and slow back down and hit the other side. So it's kind of cool.
Nice. And I would just, my advice, because I mentioned it before, I have 4 kids. Even if the kids are in school, the teachers and the school district, they love it when you pull your kids out of school, like first week of school, to go on a family trip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's
they're
going to be the
usually
second.
pretty understanding.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
they're
the second day. She doesn't want to miss the first day. I'm gonna be up there probably for the whole week and see if I could help out with Drew or whatever. While I was up there, I offered my help. But yeah, I'm gonna be up there for the full week almost. But I think he starts school on a Thursday, which I don't know why. So she's going to see if she can miss Friday. She'll fly up and I'll pick them up, or she'll grab a car. But she wants to definitely try to make it to this. So maybe if I even, be nicer even if I walk across the stage.
Oh, for sure.
You got the home field advantage.
Yeah. Hopefully the home field luck.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I think it's going to be a pretty big turnout. A lot of people like the Susquehanna River. A lot of people up north enjoy when there's events up north, because you got to figure most of the events for KBF, Bass travels around, Hobie travels around, but a lot of the events are south. So this gives a lot of people up north, even, if they want to travel down from Maine, but, the New England section of that area, Ohio, all those areas there, it's going to give them a nice event to go to, and maybe they don't have to travel 4 hours. For me now, it's like 14 hours. So, it's going to take me, and that was just going up with nothing, and it took me 14 hours. So it's a long trip for me. But I'm definitely going to make it back there. But it's going to be a good event for a lot of the northern people who are excited about competing.
Yeah, they had a lot of when I was there back in October for Bass, there was a lot of home field guys who that was their first Bass ever.
Mm-hmm.
They were from Pennsylvania and they were fishing that, and a lot of those guys did really well. I know knowledge definitely plays a factor on a river like that, knowing like that, but surprisingly, there was a lot of people who were first timers on the Susky that did really well. So I think like it's a great water because like you never know who's gonna just find the fish and win. So especially with this format, like you get that half day, you get that evening bite. The biggest fish I caught while I was there was in the evening. So it's an interesting, especially in the summer, like summer evening bite is a big deal. So like that Friday evening might actually be like, top water bonanza. So
my uncles used to go out every day after work. So you got to figure they got off a shift up there at Sylvania when it used to be called Sylvania, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and they'd fish till it's dark or even after dark. So they went in the afternoon all the time and came home and had fish fries every weekend. I mean, they just caught fish left and right. And a lot of the fishing was done at night or, late evening. So it's definitely an advantage for that day. And so with that Friday half day, you can treat it as your practice day. If you do well, it counts. If you don't, at least you know where you're heading for on Saturday.
Yep.
Hey, well, listen, I know we promised to not keep you on here forever. I think we're going to save some of our other segments that we have, like the busting the myths, and we're going to do something where we actually encourage people to call in. We got to get those details worked out. But I think that'll be fun to call people, like a radio show kind of where you call in. We give someone like maybe 2 minutes or whatever. So we'll hold some of those for a future show, but we definitely want to remind everyone, encourage everyone to come back for next week. Because if you missed it at the beginning of this live stream, Drew kind of laid out everything that's coming. So, we've been talking about the Susky, which is in August, but next week is when we're going to talk more about going live for the Shoaliepalooza. Very exciting. A giveaway for the first person, in case you missed that. There's going to be a giveaway. Dark Horse Tackle is giving away for the first person that signs up for the in-person event. And I guess I'll let Jake and Ryan have the last word. But Ryan, why don't you remind everyone where they can find you on social media?
So pretty much everything is at RJM Fishtails. If you just Google that, you can see my Facebook, my Instagram, and YouTube come up. I actually did it not too long ago. I was actually a little scared how much actually shows up when you just Google that. But everything's at RJM Fishtails. I even have TikTok. I barely use it, but I do throw some things on there. But pretty much my main thing is Instagram and YouTube. I've been kind of light lately because I'm working on my house right now. But I just actually did a post today that, when March hits, I'm going to be very active again on YouTube and Instagram, coming back for the 24 season. This year, I'm actually going out and fishing more events. I've never really done serious events a lot. So I'm actually going to hit all the KBF events this year just to kind of help support Chad, try to help KBF a little bit. And then obviously fish the Kayak Adventure Series, the one in Towanda at least. But everything's at RJ and Fishtails, and it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing, I hope. So I'm constantly putting out videos. Like I said, right now it's a little light, but that's all going to change after I'm done doing a little work around the house.
Nice. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on here. We're going to wrap this up with Jake and I, but just wanted to say a proper goodbye and thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.
All right.
Yeah,
Bye.
take it easy.
All right, thank you.
And then I'm also on YouTube and TikTok, but since he mentioned TikTok, Jake, talk a little bit about your TikTok and we'll wrap it up. That's entertaining.
Well, TikTok's like my secondary platform. I post a lot of stuff on there that's like, I'm not as like, I don't post as much on TikTok that I do on Instagram, but I am pretty active on there. I feel like TikTok is definitely it's a platform where you've got more room to grow to an extent. Like you can get away with more fringe style content. They're a little bit more on the weird side over there, which I appreciate. So
Yeah. And weird. That's my superpower. So I'm
yeah.
right at home on.
You can be a little bit more like edgy over there. And I don't mean like, naughty edgy, but like you can make jokes that normally would just go whoosh over on Instagram. So
yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks again to Ryan Rice, RJM Fishtails, and thanks, Jake. And I guess I will see you next week.
Yep.
All right. Bye, everyone. Oh, wait, we got to do a wrap up. I'm going to play some music again. Jungle music. The Kayak Adventure series, right? No matter what you choose, you got that big kayak, you got that little kayak. No matter what you have, choose your adventure. It's going to be an amazing year. I cannot wait to see everyone out on the water. Have a great week, everyone.